you eventually settle down and say, I want to start this process. So when you're thinking of starting a manufacturing enterprise, first, what am I manufacturing? And why am I manufacturing this product? So for example, if you look around you, people have water production plants. Okay, so water is a daily need. It's not a want. Without water, none of us can survive. So you're thinking, okay, yes, water is great, but then within that community, within that environment, how many people have a water production plant? So it's not good enough to say that I've found something. Who are the people you're competing with within that same environment? Now, if you decide that I want to produce water, what is the location that this water is being produced? Because there's so many factors responsible. You have to do a water test. You have to bring in NAFDAC. You have to submit that sample of your water to NAFDAC for them to even give you the report and say that at the end of the day, does this water we're talking about, does it have the right pH value? And after treatment, is this something that people can actually consume? You understand? Now, you have to go and probably consult with a business consultant. What kind of machineries do I need to start up this water production line? What are the financial requirements that is needed? Am I going to be sustaining this project by myself, or would I be requiring a financial institution, which I'm sure Mr. Femi will speak to you about shortly, right? So what is the capital outlay of this business? So we're talking about cost of, one, you might need to rent a facility. Second, you will need to buy the equipment. Thirdly, you need to look at your working capital. Then you have to look at your marketing and so many other things that comes with that. So at the end of the day, it's not just about I have a passion to start a manufacturing enterprise. So you might think you have an idea, and by the time you sit with your business consultant and all the information comes back to you, it might not be a business that's so feasible. And at that point, what I would advise you is to back out. So it doesn't make sense to do that business feasibility study, realizing that this thing is not going to work, and then you still proceed to do it. So you have to know that I'm going to have a consultant. Don't ever think that everything you have to do by yourself. There are professionals that will let you know that, look, we've done this study. These are the number of people doing what you want to do. If you set it up in Lekki phase 1, there's no chance for you. But guess what? If you go to Ikorodu, then you might have a better chance. So at times, it's as simple as location. If you have 10 people producing the same thing within one location, you might have a great product, but no one is buying from you. Because why? There's oversupply. So there is a lot of information that you need to have as an entrepreneur before you actually go into a manufacturing enterprise. What is the power situation in that neighborhood, in that locality? Do you have 7-8 hours of power supply from PATN on a daily basis? And you know that the rest of the day you have to support with your generating set. So all these questions are very, very vital. What is your source of raw material? Is it readily available in Nigeria? If it's in Nigeria, what is the proximity to your factory? Right? If it's not in Nigeria and you're importing, what are the things you need to know? How do you source for Forex? You understand what I'm saying? So there's so much information that you need to gather as that budding entrepreneur before you actually proceed to do it. You know, Forex could be, dollar could be 450 to 1 today. By the time you actually start your manufacturing farm, it could be 500, which we know there's always fluctuation in the industry, right? You might be dealing with CBN if you're applying for a Form Q that lets you get up to $20,000 within a quarter. But your money could be with your bank for 3-4 months before you get approved by CBN. Have you made plans for that provision? So there's so much. So my duty is not to discourage you, but to let you know that as a budding entrepreneur, there's so much research you must do, and it's until all those are checked before you can then say, you know what, I want to take the next step. I want to rent a factory. I want to buy equipment. I want to hire staff. I want to produce. I want to market. Then eventually I want to get to the market. So I hope with this little information, I've been able to at least sensitize you to know that yes, there's a lot of opportunities in manufacturing, but there's a lot of due diligence that you must do as that body manufacturer before you actually start. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishmael Balogun. So he made some key points about starting up. What are you manufacturing and why are you manufacturing? Now, basically, a lot of people here will have the mindset of, okay, I want to go into business. I want to start, I want to go into manufacturing, into a production line. And one of the major challenges that we have in Nigeria, because while I was even at the booth, I noticed a lot of people, they are so interested in different machines. And they be like, oh, I've been having a mind to go into this, but they discover when they hear the price, they tend to be like, wow, this thing, I never knew the price is this cumbersome. So now my question will be directed to Mr. Femi and Mr. Kingsley. In the area of finance, how can startup acquire the capital needed, and also how can existing manufacturers expand?
Thank you very much for the question, and thank you for having me here. I think we started very well with how Mr. Balogun have started in giving us the lowdown of what we needed to do before we start going into the business of manufacturing. I will try to summarize it and make it simple. The first thing is about the idea generation. So once you generate the idea, it makes sense that you run it with somebody. Because you are a startup and little businessman, you may not have the money to engage a consultant immediately. So try to run it with a friend or somebody you believe is more knowledgeable in that particular area. They might help you to just put in some boats and connect what you want to connect. Then the next thing is to do the feasibility study, like you said. You need to find out what exactly do I need to do it. Yeah, it might be a little bit of cost that you need to put to it, but it helps you to put everything in shape, especially regulatory concern. If you're in the manufacturing of something that has to do with food, water, drinks like that, you need NAFDAC approval. So it's better for you to go through a lot of other things like that. In terms of Nigerian opportunity, it is huge. Look at us in this room now. We're all wearing nice dresses, wonderful garment, and yet we don't have a thriving garment industry in Nigeria. Those are opportunities that is lacking. Now it asked about funding and financing. Part of the thing to start with is that as a startup, most of the time to start up, you need to start with your own personal finances and from friends and family. That's the truth about it. External people will not fund your business until they've seen a line of sight into kind of good business you're going to do. Earlier this morning, I was on a webinar where we were talking about the capital market, an opportunity to come and raise capital. And it is this same manufacturing sector that we are discussing about, that the financial service guys are raising money quite easily. The FMCG guys are not doing too badly. What about the other manufacturer? I said, well, even the FMCG, they have some manufacturer in it as well. Food manufacturer, clothing manufacturer, all this stuff around. There's huge opportunity. Every time I travel out of the country and you go to buy some of these shirts and shoes and stuff we are wearing, a lot of them are manufactured in China, in Bangladesh, in Vietnam, and all sorts. Those guys are not better than us. What they've done is just to put their capacity into an industrial revolution. Now you go to Bangladesh now, the highest employer of labor there is the garment industry. They made clothes for the other industry, but they have a standard in which you have to pass through before you can be, because those garments can be sold in the UK, in the US, and co. We can do the same thing here locally. But like I said, to start off first as a small businesses, you need to have friendly, patient capital to start with. You need to have a basic idea. You need to spend some money, generate the idea, put stuff in place, have feasibility study, and make sense to angel investors. Then you may have some social impact investors that may like your idea and say, I think this business will solve a problem, and therefore I can put some money into it. You want that happen, then you can start off. Now, before you can go and expand business, if you already started doing it and you go to the capital market, there are 3 things that you need to ensure that you have ticked well before you come into that. The first thing is that the capital market, where you can read expanded amount of money, you need a diversely owned company, not a one-man business, not a few connected business in the family. So it wants you to have diverse shareholders. If you don't have that, the capital market may not support you. Another thing is that you want you to have a good corporate governance perspective. Don't let us even say that you have it. I mean, let me say, at times you have the corporate governance, but it is not perceived that so. So they must have that you have a good corporate governance perception. Not a situation where the dad is the chairman, the son is the MD. It's not a problem, but they don't see it that way when it comes to the capital market. Or you are the chairman and the CEO at the same time. So you need to have that expanded, corporate governance, more independent directors on the board and stuff like that. And the next thing you want to do is to ensure that you are in a business that has stable cash flow. Now, if you go to raise money, people expect that you raise this money to pay me back, either through interest and principal repayment or through dividend regularly. If the business is in a volatile stuff that is cash flow is not estimatable, then it's a problem to get money from outside. And those are the issues and challenges. But there are many ways to raise money. First, family and friends and personal savings to start with. You can get angel investors, you can get venture capital, you can get private equity, and you can use the capital market. The banks are there too. A lot of businesses are raising money through crowdfunding. And so there are different ways, but you must package your business in a way that it makes sense to the market for them to give the money to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. I believe, okay.
Hello? Okay, thank you very much. Just to add to what Femi I just said, particularly with respect to the capital requirement for new businesses and existing businesses. For new businesses, you are dealt with, you need patient the capital, angel investors, people that could just see and they are it and they want to help you grow. All that kind of capital you can also attract is from friends, which has also been mentioned. For existing businesses, it's important to make sure that you have a proper accounting system for everything you do with respect to your manufacturing business, because that is what investor will want to look at to know how you have done historically, with a view to knowing whether it is worth putting money that will generate future dividends for them. So basically, corporate governance, as he has mentioned, is also very, very important. We must be able to separate the business from your individual, daily living. The business is a separate entity from the investors themselves. So that must be separated. That's where the issue of corporate governance, is very, very critical. Without a good corporate governance, you cannot attract, investors to put money in your business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. So quite a whole lot has been said, and it's so deep concerning what they said. But now there are some things in Nigeria that happens during production. There are some challenges that affect a lot of people who are into production, and such as forecasting, inventory management, and continuous process improvement. These are some of the challenges that affect Nigerian producers. How can we deal with this?
Thank you very much. So again, you don't know all. So you need to seek help wherever there's need for it. Most of the things that you mentioned, some of them are accounting techniques in terms of inventory management, in terms of, many other things that you want to do in your business. No, when it comes to such things as logistics, what we've seen that happen over the time is that people have started doing outsourcing, kind of B2B. Because I like focus on private sector more than the government, because we actually expect the government to do a lot for us. But what has happened is that the government is limited in the capacity they have as well to do it for us. So what businesses have done in terms of all the kind of things to do B2B. Some businesses are created to provide all those kind of services for business, inventory management. You have just in time. You have some businesses that have warehouses where they can help you to even import the raw material you want, or to buy it from anywhere and keep it for you and supply it to your businesses just in time. They can help you to distribute your finished product when you are done, to take it from you and move on. So they help with those kind of inventory management problem and all those things that you want to do with it. So there are ways in which it can be done. And like I said, there are professionals in different areas. You are a good salesman. You don't have to be very good when it comes to accounting. So you get an accountant to sort that out. You are not a good guy when it comes to logistics. You get people to do stuff. That's why you see supply chain management becoming a popular area of focus going forward. So that's what I'm going to say there.
I think Mr.
Okay, just to add to it, in the area of inventory management, as he has said, is expertise is required in making sure that there's what they call first in, first out. If goods or stocks that have existed, are not taken out earlier than the one that came later, it could pose a problem. You could have obsolete items. So it's always good to have professionals to guide in that process in making sure that, earlier goods are pushed out so that the newer ones will stay. That way, you reduce obsolescence in your inventory. Thank you.
I believe Mr. Ishmael has something to say.
So thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley. Just to add and bring a pragmatic approach to what we're talking about now, and take a case study of an actual manufacturing firm. The truth of the matter is that you can't be the best in every aspect of this process. So it's very important for a manufacturer to understand that what is my capacity? What is my strength? So identifying your strength is actually one of the biggest things you want to do, right? So for example, you've taken time and you've identified what you want to manufacture. You've taken time, you've done your research, you realize that there is a niche for this very product. You've taken time to understand that, okay, I can sell this product at a particular price and make a decent profit, right? But guess what? You're not the best at HR. Neither do you have any basic skills in accounting, right? Neither do you know anything about logistics. Neither do you know anything about marketing, right? And all these components are essential for you to actually be successful. So again, it's very, very important as a budding entrepreneur to understand clearly that, you know what, this is what I'm great at. Now, I'm going to find competent people, companies, that my accounting can be outsourced to, that my logistics can be outsourced to, that my marketing or my PR can be outsourced to, and so on. So that at the end of the day, you have what we call an effective system that's actually paying dividends, that's actually giving you the returns of your investment. So the natural mindset of an entrepreneur is that, you know what, this is my business. So guess what? I'm going to do everything myself. And that is fine for as long as you can survive. But business will start from that startup stage and it starts to grow wings. You have one customer, you have one staff, you have 3 staff. Probably you can still wingle everything and still do it. But as it takes its own life, you realize that now we have 10 staff. Now there's HR. Now these people have to have pension. Now these people are talking about 401k plans. Now we used to deliver only in Lagos or in Lekki. Now we need to service people in Bagada. We need to service people in Ikorodu. Now people are calling you from National State. How do you get all that done? Because at the end of the day, you are in business to make money. So you're not interested in turning down the guy from National State. So how do you integrate your operations to make sure you have an effective system? So my proposal is that you must be willing to open up yourself and ask for help and seek partners that can help you grow your business better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishmael. So I believe we are having, we're short of time, so I will just kind of quickly go through the questions. So I believe everyone here will take home 1 or 2 things that can help in their business or if you want to start up. So a question to the panelists. It is difficult in finding properly trained staff, especially in Nigeria. How can the reverse be the case?
Okay, let me give it a go. Okay, so from the private sector, I mean, there are 2 ways you can look at this. We can look at it broadly from the education system in Nigeria, which will require that the government, do something about it. But I'll pass that to my other colleagues that are better in that. So I'll focus on the private sector. So what I have done in my own business to help out with that is that I created a training school myself. I found that most of the people that came out of school nowadays, they don't have that kind of experience that I need. They don't have the ability to deliver the work immediately as I wanted. some of the curriculum, some of those schools are still the ancient one that I used when I left school some 20 something years ago, which has moved. Nobody used, I mean, when I was in school, I never saw a computer till I left school. But I still did exam in the computer, so you can imagine that. So when guys come out of the school now, they still don't have the basic knowledge of what I needed. So what I've done is to create a training school to train them on what I want to do. Some spend 6 months, some spend 1 year in the training school, and they get to understand everything about the business. So they become the pool that I need to run my business. I don't usually recruit at top level, except become very, very necessary. Now, that's one part. Again, I sit on a board of a company who is into engineering, so which more applicable to the manufacturing guys. Okay. The guys still find out that they have that same problem in their business, and they decide to create an engineering school. Okay. Now, they are not looking at it for themselves alone. They want to use it to serve even this industry as well. So when an electrical engineer finishes school, they expect the guy to come to their engineering school and perfect his way. Okay. When the computer guy finishes school, they want him to come to them and perfect what they do so that it can be useful into what we do. Okay.
Mr. Femi, sorry. So other speakers too, I believe they have a few points to drop down. Just make it brief, please.
Okay, just to add for what Femi has said, for public sector, I think we need to get government to encourage technical colleges. We need to go back to making this work so that young school leavers from secondary school can go. Everybody can go to the university. Many of them can be encouraged to go to technical schools and learn, the rudiments of some of these technical skills that is required by industries. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on. How do we combat infrastructure deficiency affecting manufacturers? To the panelists.
Thank you once again, Kingsley, and Femi as well. See, we are all Nigerians, and it would be almost ridiculous to just expect the government. I mean, there's things we expect of the government, but the truth of the matter is that are they being delivered? So, again, manufacturing is such a practical job that you produce your goods and you want to get it out to the market. But guess what? You have to deal with last mile on your way to the market, because your driver will call you and say, I've been held. And because of that, I cannot get to the client. Meanwhile, this client is calling you. You have to travel on those roads that more than likely, maybe a tire here and there might be broken. So you have to deal with light. You have to deal with generating your own power. So we have manufacturers day in, day out that, when they come to us and they say they want to buy their equipment, the next thing we're talking about is, how is light in your area? Because we know that without that, your business could go down. So if that is the case, how then are we looking at either renewable energy to help reduce the cost of power generation, or what are the other options that can be deployed? So really, infrastructure remains a problem that we've been dealing with from day one, and we're still dealing with it now. So that's why for manufacturers, the truth is that you're your own local government. So be ready to, again, create some element of road, be able to generate your own power, like Mr. Femi said, train your own staff. Really, whatever you need to do to get your business running, that is what you have to do. The truth of the matter is that what we can tell the government is that, industrial hubs can be created where manufacturers can just come in, bring in their raw materials, equipment is already there for them, power is already there for them, HR in terms of technical expertise is already there for them. They can actually produce their goods and roll out, and then the next manufacturer can come in and do the same thing. And we have a good level of productivity, right? That's what we are preaching, that's what we're telling, and we hope they start using. We're seeing some governments already responding, but we can do more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishmael. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi and Mr. Kingsley. Okay, so we're wrapping up this section right about now. So basically, Mr. Ishmael has just gave a summary of everything that has been said. He has just given a summary. So right now, we want to throw it to the audience. Do you have any question for the panelists? Any question? I just need like 2 hands. Okay.
My question is, for the average citizen, you did mention that the intention is for Nigerians to be able to go into cottage industries, and that would enable, smaller businesses to come up, which can further scale up. So what can be, I want to connect it to ideation when people have ideas. And what can be done to help average citizens that have an idea on how they can, ensure that, firm up that idea and ensure that it's marketable and they can spring up from there?
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I would say this, no, things has moved far beyond what we were when we were growing up. So there's opportunity now to learn a lot of things about how you can take your idea forward, even online. YouTube can help you to package some of the stuff you want to do. There are a lot of opportunities that people are creating now, like creating investment hubs. We have a CC hub in Yaba that was helping out with people with technology idea. If you can create idea that can use technology to solve problem, you see people that will come around it. There are a lot of talent show and stuff like that is coming up. What everybody is trying to do with those is to help people to be able to package their idea and make them become marketable or something that can go to market. You've seen the government too trying at some point to do some program, something Yes Now or something, I can't remember. I know some Yes, something that the former administration tried to introduce where you can send your business plan and bid for some stuff. You have Lagos State creating something they call Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, where you can put something together. So, I mean, there are a lot of opportunity. Now people are not doing mentorship. There's Tony Elumelu Foundation. About this morning I was seeing something to them, asking for people to help them mentor guys with idea into fruition with some grants and stuff like that. So there is a different ways that one have to, you just have to try and find the one that is applicable to what you want to do. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, for the second question, I saw a hand over here.
I think there was a problem that was missed in the problems facing manufacturing.
Come again?
There's a major problem that I think was missing facing manufacturers in Nigeria, which is the power. So I would like to know how we're trying to beat the power deficiency we're facing in Nigeria, because without power, we literally can't produce anything. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, when Mr. Balogun was talking about, he spoke about the infrastructure challenges. Part of it was power. He mentioned that a manufacturer is not only a manufacturer, even as a resident on your own, you are your own local government. You produce your water, your power, your security, even your roads. But the way it is that we understand it, there's no doubt about it, that it is very hard and very difficult for an individual manufacturer to be able to generate the kind of power that you need. But what we've seen lately is that we are getting some mix, of cheaper source of power. People are now going into solar, which, I mean, you don't have to pay tariff for it as you pay for government. The world is facing now the fossil fuel generator and all sorts. So somehow, what we are just advising is that at this moment, we believe that as time goes on, yeah, this problem will be over generally, yeah. It's just going to take some time. But if we leave the complaint part and try to get our hand dirty in fixing the problem ourselves, maybe it will get solved. Because the problem is that I cannot tell you this is how power will be solved.
Okay.
Because people there, maybe they are seeing some things that we don't see. But what we have done is that locally we've done a lot of things. I'm sure here I've seen a lot of power solutions that have been brought up here. That is why it is for creativity.
Okay.
Private sector has been creating stuff that can help you to do your business to a large. I mean, when you do 10 kVA now, you probably, when your business expands, you do 50 kVA, and you probably get yourself off the national grid.
Okay.
And those are the way to solve.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. And Mr. Kingsley.
Just to quickly add to what Femi had just said, Nish mentioned something earlier on about industrial hub. Private sector and government are working together now to create some hubs where you have, all types of machines that could produce different things. In that hub, power is provided, water is provided, everything is provided. So it's for us to identify some of these hubs that can help in the kind of production we want to do, and then see how we can fit into any of those hubs. That way, it will save us a whole lot of cost, that we will have had to, invest in. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ishmael, do you have anything to add to it?
Thank you for that question. And what Mr. Kingsley is saying is that, we have to be proactive. And what do I mean? Okay, so you have about a group of 10 manufacturers that want to start their different businesses, right? What is ideal is that take away the old mindset of this is my business and everything I have belongs to me, right? We all have to start collaborating with one another. And, interestingly enough, the Lagos State government is doing an excellent job in this regard. So there's a lot of industrial clusters all around the state, right? Of course, you need to apply, and eventually you get an allocation. So what happens on a practical note is that you want to buy your own individual generator, she wants to buy her own, and this other person wants to, at the end of the day, you need 200 kVA, right? That 200 kVA can be purchased, right, through a cooperative or something of that nature, so that the individual manufacturer is not burdened by that kind of cost to start a business, right? So once you have that space, again, in collaboration with the state, there's a lot of private-public partnership that is also going on as we speak. So you have a very good idea. You can write your proposal to a state government, they will listen to you, and if it works, they can provide, for example, the land, and you are bringing in a technical expertise, and then you have a joint operation, and that could be a very engaging thing. So in a cluster, you have your power, you have your human resources, you have machinery, and things go smoother. So you're not taking all that production expense as a single manufacturer. You're able to split the bill. So the beauty about manufacturing is this. If you invest 10 million naira, for example, and you needed about 2 years to have your returns on investment gained. But if you are in collaboration with other manufacturers, that same money that you're trying to get back as your investment can be done within a year, because your cost of production becomes drastically reduced, right? Your cost of human resources becomes drastically reduced. If you have one truck in a cluster, that truck will be responsible for delivering everyone's product to different one of your end users. And guess what? You reduce the cost of transportation. And you can split that across power, across logistics, across human resources. And at the end of the day, you're better off. So that's what we're basically preaching. Learn to collaborate as manufacturers, and you'll be better off. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley, Mr. Femi, Mr. Ishmael. Can we give it up for a panelist? They've done a great, wonderful job, and I believe we have taken 1 or 2 notes that will help us in our startup or expansion. So on this note, we want to drop down the curtain for this section. So I don't know, maybe they have a briefing, something briefly they just want to say in just in 10 seconds. You just want to say to startup?
Okay, well, thank you very much for having us. We believe that we have an engaging session with you. The only thing I would say is that we can do it. It is not, everywhere in the world, the small businesses are the ones that run the economy. And I believe that Nigeria is not going to be different. So maybe very soon our government will wake up to that and start giving us all the support that we need. But while we are waiting for that, we have to keep on. Like my equation that somebody taught me said, crisis is equal to opportunity plus chaos. It is what you focus inside the crisis that matters. If you focus on the chaos, everything will be chaotic. But if you focus on the opportunity, you're going to make a lot of money. So please, as we leave this place, let's focus on the opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley.
So if I may just quickly add, anything you want to do, just make sure you sit, answer questions, and plan very well. Grow your business organically. What that means is that you take it step by step, so that as you learn, if at all you're going to make